Now it's time for Lefties Losing It, starting with the very latest in skincare, thanks to a brand new woke DEI ad. Ladies, if you're looking to spruce yourself up this festive season, give your skin perhaps a bit of love, a bit of glow, Google's Christmas campaign has got you covered.
So dry. This winter dryness is not it, especially when I have so many holiday looks to pull off. Thankfully, I know just the thing. And it's in stock nearby. Hydrated skin is a gift to everyone. No wrapping needed. Happy holidays.
Wow, please get me some of that skincare he is wearing because he is really going to boost sales, isn't he? Now, where have I seen an ad like this before?
This month, I celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it. Check out my Instagram story to see how you can enjoy March Madness with Bud Light and maybe win some money too.
It just never gets old, does it? And this is what happens when DEI infiltrates corporate companies. Because Bud Light's Dylan Mulvaney experiment cost more than $1 billion in sales last year, you'd think they would learn. But on with the woke corporation's rainbow pathway into the never never. Now, speaking of woke, the curse of car manufacturer Jaguar continues. You know, the company which spent 100 years to build a brand only to blow it in 30 seconds with a gender-fluid ad. And funnily enough, no cars. So you just have to wonder how much these celebrities, of course, were paid to spruik its new pink electric vehicle.
We're at Jaguar.
We are here in Miami for the reveal of the new Type 00.
I love how modern and futuristic and different it is.
I think it's the future. This art is something that I've never seen before.
The wow factor of this car is going to blow people away.
It's unlike any other car we've ever seen before. Just the shape of the car, you get what I'm saying? The silhouette.
I love it. It's very bold, Jaguar.
Gee, Jaguar needs all the help it can get. Now it's time for a lesson in human biology from this lefty.
Did you know that a straight guy dating a trans girl is still a straight relationship? How? I mean, trans woman are one woman, and a man being a woman, well, that's a straight relationship.
Who's got to tell him? It's not quite how it works. Now this it has pronouns coming out of their ears, and believe me, there is a whole list.
My pronouns. So of course we have he, him, his, himself, and they, them, theirs, themselves. And then we also have void, voids, void self, end, ender, enders, and ender self. Death, deaths, death self. Pix, pixel, pickles, pix, pixel, pixels, pixel self. Vial, vials, vial self.
And what about Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers? Did that make the list too? And death self, wow, a new one. I guess it goes with the makeup. I kind of like pixel self. Might have to, trot that one out myself. Kind of cute. Now to this friendly PSA.
All cops are bastards. Every single one of them. If there's 10 people sitting at a table, 2 of them are Nazis. The other 8 don't care that they're Nazis. There's 10 Nazis! Any issue, you do your best to avoid calling the police because they're not going to help.
Okay, well, let's see how that goes for you. Now to the joyless Joy Reid and her crazy, creepy guests over at MSNBC. But just when you think she can't possibly sink as low as her own ratings, she's now seemingly advocating for violence.
We should not be surprised in this country that just reelected Donald Trump.
And I mean, the reality is, if you go back to the Trayvon Martin case, you can go back before that. You can go back to the justification for lynching among conservatives, whether the conservatives wearing the D uniform or the R uniform. Conservatism itself has justified violence. January 6th, burning down Tulsa and Wilmington, overthrowing the government there. If it's violence for the purposes they want, they're cool with it.
If the victim is somebody that I don't like, or the victim is someone who they feel deserves it, then a lot of times people are willing to justify violence. It's an unfortunate thing. It's a very American thing, right? I mean, we worship vigilante violence. We worship action heroes. We worship Charles Bronson and all these people who take it into their own hands. Al Capone, criminals and everything else like that. I think the sad part about this, frankly, is that I am not going to pretend that in a country that's been started and operated off of violence, that violence doesn't sometimes solve things.
I don't know what's worse, the dangerous rhetoric or that they claim that people are worshipping Al Capone. Have I missed something? Are Americans actually worshipping Al Capone? Joy Reid says so. And speaking of the tolerant left advocating for violence, enter Democrat Elizabeth Warren.
This guy gets a trial who's allegedly killed the CEO of United Health. But you can only push people so far. And then they start to take matters into their own hands.
Yeah.
The politics of joy and the tolerant Democrats. Now to a lefty we haven't really heard from in a while. Bill Clinton, here he is. The bitter has-been has spoken to the bitter banshees of The View, claiming the 2016 election was rigged and was stolen from his wife. You know, the wife he cheated on?
Unlike in 2016, there was no outside influence like the FBI director interfering at the last moment in violation of 70 years of policy. And it changed 5% overnight. In my lifetime, I've never seen a poll change 5% overnight. So anybody that says that he didn't give Trump the election, needs
think about it again. Yeah. Remember when the Democrats said that they would always accept an election result? So, good to know old Bill hasn't slept in 8 years. And he's not the only one still struggling to come to terms with Donald Trump's victory.
Independents believe the greatest threat to democracy was Joe Biden getting reelected. And that was independents, not Republican or Democrat. So what you say, you can believe, but that's not what the American public believes.
We elected the most dangerous, criminal human being, corrupt human being that America has ever elected. And Kevin, you helped him. You're the one who went and got him after.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That was US House Speaker Kevin McCarthy with what I've got to say is the ultimate clap back to the Tinder dating pool now, which is getting smaller and smaller for lonely liberal women.
So I've been seeing a lot of women who are saying that they've broken up with their Republican boyfriends following the results of this election. And you have me up, because why are you still dating Republicans? I didn't know that we were still doing that. Furthermore, why are you confused? Why are you shocked by this outcome? I understand there were people who were duped by men who, advocated and said that they would vote in your interest and then backstabbed you, and that must be god-awful. May that love never find me. But you know what? It doesn't find me, because if a man tells me he's a Republican, I don't trust him anymore.
Oh, must be a sad, lonely life. Perhaps it's got something to do with having a moral compass.
It's not the fact that our political opinions are slightly different. It's the fact that our moral compasses are completely opposite. It's the fact that hateful messaging resonated with you. Because when I heard his campaign ads and his rally speeches and the debate, I was like, oh, that's hateful and wrong. That's demonizing minority groups and acting as though they're the problem, when I realize that they are not. They're just trying to live here and exist like everyone else. But instead, you heard his messaging and his ads and the debate, and you were like, ooh, yeah, that guy, he has my vote.
Yeah, the guy who had 74 million American votes, that's the one. And as for the rest of the Democrat voters, they're so broken, perhaps they need to speak to someone.
Somebody today asked me, they said, I'm sorry, I hate to go there, but I have to ask, who did you vote for? And I said, Kamala Harris, of course. And they said, okay. I said, you voted for Trump? No, I voted for making America great again. I was like, oh, okay. And I had to practice my breathing techniques that my therapist taught me.
Poor love, it's time to find a new therapist, because this one ain't working. Now to Dr. Jill, who has truly had a glow-up of sorts, and in her I don't give a damn era, because we now have more proof, ladies and gentlemen, that she voted for Donald Trump. Here she was, feeling the Kamala Harris joy.
So I hope that you all feel that sense of, peace and light, and that just for a moment when you leave here today that you feel, a sense of joy. Because I think we all need we all need to feel joy now during this time of the season, during this time. So anyway, okay, now I'll start. You're all reading into that.
Oh, let's be honest, this was the same joy she was referring to.
Never let anyone take your joy from you. You do what you gotta do. And isn't that a wonderful way to live, to know you have purpose?
Dr. Jill has truly been unburdened by what has been. And to the global poster boy for the outright tragic, Justin Trudeau, who is once again showing himself as a pathetic little wimp, this time having a whinge about the US election result.
No, it shouldn't be that way. It wasn't supposed to be that way. We were supposed to be on a steady, if difficult sometimes, march towards progress. And yet, just a few weeks ago, the United States voted for a second time to not elect its first woman president. Everywhere, women's rights and women's progress is under attack, overtly and subtly. But I want you to know that I am, and always will be, a proud feminist. You will always have an ally in me and in my government.
Let's bring in journalist and filmmaker Ami Horowitz now. Ami, good to see you. Do you think Justin Trudeau is upset because Donald Trump has been hilariously mocking him online? He recently posted to Truth Social, "It was a pleasure to have dinner the other night with Governor Justin Trudeau of the great state of Canada. I look forward to seeing the governor again soon so that we may continue our depth talks on tariffs and trade, the results of which will be truly spectacular for all." I've got to say, this trolling is epic, but how tragic is Trudeau? The guy is such a poster boy for the pathetic.
Yeah, first of all, let me make clear that Trudeau is definitely not the son of Castro, just so we're clear. And look, I understand why he's such a feminist, because he really isn't much of a man. I will tell you that. He's handsome, but doesn't have a lot of masculine qualities, if you ask me. I think it's, first of all, stay out of our politics, please. Nobody asks your opinion. No one wants your opinion. We are happy the way this thing worked out. This was a landslide, a modern day landslide anyways. And of course he wanted Kamala Harris. He wanted the weakest person possible as president so he could have his way. What he got was a very masculine Donald Trump who simply will have his way with Canada and Trudeau. But I wonder if he would have had the same tone if, let's say, Nikki Haley was president. Would he have raved about the Americans electing Nikki Haley? I think not. Look, like you said, Trump is an absolute master troller. Hats off to you, my friend. Yes, hilarious the way he framed that. But by the way, if Canada continues down the road of supporting guys like Trudeau and their ultimate economic downfall, which seems to be around the corner, they may, in fact, become a vassal state of the U.S. So maybe President Trump was prescient. Don't know.
Look, possibly, but you're right. Gosh, Trudeau is just so weak, just absolutely so pathetic. Now, let's talk about FBI Director Christopher Wray, who has announced his resignation ahead of Trump's inauguration. Trump appointed Wray during his first term in office and has already chosen, as we know, Kash Patel as his pick to run the Bureau. But he's posted, "The resignation of Christopher Wray is a great day for America as it will end the weaponization of what has become known as the United States Department of Injustice. Under the leadership of Wray, the FBI illegally raided my home without cause, worked diligently on illegally impeaching and indicting me, and has done everything else to interfere with the success and future of America. I look forward to Kash Patel's confirmation." Wray's position obviously became completely untenable. But how will Kash Patel now fare in this role taking over?
Yeah, look, there's no question that there was a clear weaponization of the FBI and the DOJ under the Biden administration. And Americans paid attention because the favorability of the FBI is at its lowest ebb in 10 years. Less than half of Americans support the FBI. 41%. That's an insanely low number. That's down 18% in the last 10 years. Of course he had to resign. This is mostly under his tenure. But what does it say about the Democrats and how they use the FBI? Everyone has noticed it. This is why the favorability is down so much. And if you look at, obviously, the disconnect, the split between Republicans and Democrats, it's even more extreme. And this is not good. This is not, our structures cannot handle this. We need a strong, robust FBI. We don't want to have a hollowed out version. I think Kash Patel will bring back, some legitimacy of the FBI, which is a good thing for our country. Our country cannot handle a hollowing out of our significant structures, and the FBI is certainly one of that. So I am certainly optimistic Kash Patel will do something to bring the FBI back in the favor of Americans.
Yeah, absolutely. Fingers crossed. Now, approval rates for asylum applications in the US have dropped dramatically in the run-up to Donald Trump's second administration. 36% of asylum petitions were approved by the US immigration judges in October. That's a sharp decrease from the earlier Biden administration, where asylum grant rates topped 50%, which is outrageous. Army, is this the Trump effect already in action?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. We see the Trump effect already in foreign policy, right? We saw it with Hamas being kicked out of Qatar. We saw it with the ceasefire in Lebanon. And I can go on and on. We're now seeing a domestic policy in terms of how they're dealing with these asylum claims by judges. Yeah, I think that there's no question that's anticipation of what's going to happen with Trump. I mean, you're talking about under the Biden administration, asylum rates were above 50%. Historically high numbers. And now with Trump coming in, it's about a third. There's no question that has been a part of what the people are thinking is going to take place in terms of immigration policy under Donald Trump. Look, you could also see the issues that we have across the border now. We now have caravans, multiple caravans streaming up toward America in anticipation of Biden leaving office and Trump becoming president. So I think that they're getting their last licks and the last hurrahs because there's no question this border is going to be shut down under Trump. I don't have to think that. I know that because we saw it already on Trump 1. And all Biden had to do was simply look, if he really wanted this to be shut down, he could have shut it down. He didn't want it shut down. And now the Americans saw that. And that's one of the primary drivers and reasons why Biden is no longer president.
Yeah, good point. Exactly. And looking forward to seeing that border finally shut down come January. Now, let's move on to the outgoing Secretary of State, Antony Blinken. He has finally expressed remorse that the Biden administration had not done more to protect the 13 US troops who were, of course, killed in an ISIS-K suicide bombing during that chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan back in 2021. This is what he said.
I think today especially of the 13 heroes that we lost at Abbey Gate, and I deeply regret that we did not do and could not do more to protect them. And to those families who are here with us today, you're in my thoughts, in my prayers. I wish that Nicole was here with us today. I'm deeply sorry that she's not.
You could hear some hecklers there heckling him. This guy is so useless. Is this too little too late?
It is. And frankly, it's pretty gross, I have to say. And aside from the American soldiers who were killed in Afghanistan because of our incredibly hastily withdrawal, and frankly, this was, in fact, the first of the many, many strings of foreign policy failures under the Biden administration. Let's not forget that we left billions of dollars in weapons in Afghanistan for the Taliban to get a hold of. We also left behind people in Afghanistan. This set the tone for our foreign policy failures for the next 4 years. There's no question our adversaries saw weakness and they pounced on it. There's a direct correlation, I think, between us leaving Afghanistan and then soon thereafter Putin invading Ukraine, which he didn't do under Trump. He did, in fact, sense weakness. There's a direct correlation between a lot of the things that we saw with foreign policy being on fire during this time. And I think it's unfortunate, but Did we learn our lessons for real? Look, Blinken sat there and he actually pushed back. It wasn't a full mea culpa. He did defend the withdrawal. And frankly, he didn't look. Does he really care? He didn't even read the House Foreign Policy Committee on what actually happened in Afghanistan. So I'm sorry if I don't take it seriously. I'm sorry if I think it's hollow. And yes, it is absolutely too little too late, truly.
Yeah, it should have come a lot earlier than what it has. Let's talk about this. This is extraordinary. The Biden administration has quietly extended a sanctions waiver that will grant Iran access to roughly $10 billion from Iraq. This happened 2 days, apparently, after Donald Trump's Election Day victory. Army, what do you make of this?
Yeah, this is nothing new. They've been doing this now for years, giving this sanctions waiver. I don't get the details of it, but essentially trading energy in Iraq for releasing, unfreezing of money, talking about $10 billion. Look, if you look at this, again, the string of foreign policy failures under the Biden administration, I think Iran may rank as #1, to be honest. There is a connection between Iran and its money and October 7th and Lebanon bombing Israel and Hezbollah bombing Israel. There's a connection between this money and our troops being attacked and killed by Iranian proxies. It's all about the funding. Iran funds all of these things. And, it's extraordinary to me, the lack of basic economic understanding of the Biden administration. Their deniability, the fungibility of money is unhinged, right? They don't understand how this stuff works, that when you give with one hand, they are now freed up to use that money for other purposes. They keep saying, oh, no, we're looking at where this money is being used, humanitarian purposes only. But yes, it allows them to not use that money for humanitarian purposes, freeing up money for other things. Basic stuff. But the Biden administration has no idea what they're doing. And by the way, this is also not even talking about China being allowed to buy oil from Iran, giving it another source of funding. Look, this is the major, if we're not going to attack and bomb them, right, which obviously under Biden we're not going to do, threat wasn't even there. I think the threat now, I'm not sure if we would do it, but the threat exists with Trump. But if you're not going to actually have a real threat of weapons, money and economic pressure is all you have. And the Biden administration has taken that tool away. And we saw the effect of an emboldened Iran throughout the Middle East. And frankly, the U.S. troops and Israel specifically paid the price.
Absolutely. Look, we're almost out of time, Army. Just really quickly, CNN finished number 17 among cable stations during prime time last week. It even had a smaller audience than the Food Network. All over at MSNBC, Joy Reid, she's lost roughly half of her viewers since the election, Army. Well, what do you say to that?
Oh, Joy Reid could not have happened to a better person. Oh, my God. So delicious. I mean, look, CNN had 376,000 people in prime time. As just a comparison, that's 14% of Fox News during the same prime time. Look, are we shocked that the American people don't want to see a continued mouthpiece of the failed Biden administrations? Of course they don't. It's reflected in the numbers. No question about it.
No doubt about it. The joyless Joy Reid is on the downer, Army Horowitz. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining me.